the electronic energy mechanism of two very special, energy storage device. One is electrochemical capacitor, and is lithium-ion battery. So, in electrochemical capacitors, the charge is stored on the surface in the form of double layer capacitance. Whereas in the lithium-ion battery, charge stores in the bulk of the electrode. Like it doesn't store on the surface of the material; it's stored within the material. If you look at the example of graphite, which is very common negative electrode like anode material, so lithium ion get stored within the graphene layers. Okay, so now move to the why the lithium. So before commercializing lithium ion battery, there was lithium metal battery. In lithium metal battery at anode side, lithium metal was used. So this concept was proposed, as I already told, by Professor Whittingham. So he cycled titanium disulfide against lithium metal, and he found that over the repeated cycling of the material on the surface of lithium metal, there was spongy microstructure got developed. Uh, these spongy and needle kind of microstructures are called lithium dendrites. So with the growth of these dendrites to the cathode, it short circuit the battery and creates a lot of safety issues. So after that, as I told that good enough to replace the titanium metal transitional metal oxide. So now the commercial batteries are using lithium cobalt oxide, lithium NMC, nickel manganese cobalt based oxide, and lithium iron phosphate type electrode cathode materials. So a typical electrode, contains active material in a certain ratio with the carbon black, that is conducting additive, and polymeric binders. So polymeric binders and conducting this active material conducting additive and polymeric binder in certain ratio uh, are mixed, are well mixed, and that forms a slurry which is tape casted or doctor bladed on the current collector. So for anode side, the current collector is used commonly is copper foil, whereas at the cathode side, aluminum foil is used as a current collector. The result of being using aluminum at the cathode side, that at higher potential copper get oxidized. So that's why we cannot use copper at cathode side. So in lithium-ion battery, lithium ions shuttles between anode and cathode with the rocking chair technology. So now, how to select anode and cathodes? So if you look at this, figure, you will see that at y-axis there is a potential with respect to lithium, and you can come at x-axis you can see that lithium capacity is mentioned. So the electrode material at higher potential side usually used as cathode side, as cathodes. They act as a cathode, and electrode materials at a lower to at lower voltage side is are used as anodes. So you will see that by theoretically lithium metal has highest energy density, whereas graphite has a specific capacity of say 372 milliampere per gram. Uh, Based on these two, we can classify electrodes in three types. We can classify electrodes in three types based on their mechanism. One is alloying based electrodes. Second is intercalation or insertion electrode, and third one is conversion based electrodes. So I will discuss about that after some time. So before going in depth, in the deep of what is this? Okay. So before going in the deep of understanding of these electrode materials, we should know some basic terminology of electrode materials. So first is what is specific capacity. So this is the formula using that we can calculate the specific capacity. So specific capacity, how you can how you can measure the specific capacity. If suppose uh, if a electrode has suppose your electrode has 100 milliampere per gram specific capacity. So what you do, you apply 100 milliampere current and for 1 hour to the 1 gram of material. So ideally it should reach to the theoretical capacity of that material. So that is called specific capacity of that material. Now come to rate capability of electrode. So the rate capability suggests that how fast you can charge or discharge your material. So at higher current rate or higher charging discharging rate, your material should also perform well. So those, that is called rate capability. And again one term comes C rate. So C rate is nothing, basically the current density. So if you the current applied for 1 gram of material, if your material in 1 hour, so that current is called uh, 1 C rate. So if suppose what about that C by 10 rate? So what you do, you just divide the current equivalent to 1 C rate by the 10. So that current rate is called C by 10 rate. So as I told that based on the charge storage mechanism, electrodes can be classified with three types of material. One is insertion, second one is alloying, and third one is conversion. So in insertion electrode, what happens? Your material has layered structure or specific pathway for lithium migration, lithium movement during the storage and removal. So in that case, this charge stores between the layers of the material. Then the second comes allowing electrodes. In allowing, what happens? Lithium react with electrode materials and form alloys, lithium alloys of that material. So typically in this case, the material are grouped as silicon, tin, aluminum. These are a couple of examples of alloying based electrodes. And third one is conversion based electrode. In this, what happens? This comes with mostly metal oxides. So where material react with lithium and it form a gel kind of layer of lithium oxide around the material, which contains the nanoparticles of that particular element. And in the subsequent cycle, uh, the charging discharging happens between the metal oxide nanoparticles and these metal oxide particles. So how as I told that the commercial lithium ion battery contains graphite at the anode side. So we should one should be interested to look at how the voltage profile, how the charge stores in graphite. So in first figure you can see that there are couple of voltage plateaus uh, with respect to the lithium fraction in graphite. So as I told that graphite can store 372 milliampere hour per gram charge, 372 milliampere hour per gram charge in within it. So if with that formula, uh, 6 carbon can store one atom of lithium. So as the so I will tell that lithiation means lithium insertion in the material, and delithiation means removal of lithium from the material. So during the lithiation, you can see the lithiation in graphite starts from around 2 volts. So and it forms various lithium intercalated compounds. We are denoted here type stage 4, stage 3 to stage 2, stage 1. So when the voltage reaches to near 2 volts, there will be stage 4 gets formed. In stage 4, what will happen? Lithiums are randomly uh, stored in the graphene planes in graphite. When again the voltage get comes closer to 0.1 volt, these randomly stored lithium ions get systematically get stored, where between three layers of graphene, one layer of lithium will be existed. Then similarly, there is stage 2 where between two graphene layers, there will be one layer of lithium. And stage 1, this entire structure will be filled with uh, lithium with the formula of one lithium by 6 carbon. So if you look at like this is the in this graph. Okay. So, so this is the lithium profile of the graphite, where you can see the plot number 1. So after reaching to its maximum lithium storage capacity, it delithiates, means lithium get removed from it, and again it's come to its initial phase. So you can see that there is a huge difference between the charge storage in lithiation and delithiation process. So this difference is called irreversible capacity, and this irreversible capacity is mainly due to the surface reaction, where your electrolyte get reduced on the surface of electrodes, and as uh, a thin amorphous layer is get formed, which is called SEI layer. So due to the formation of this SEI layer, this irreversible contribution of the capacity comes. Now, this is the case in first cycle. When you cycle your electrode again and again, what will happen? This irreversible contribution to the capacity will be minimized over the cycles. So now, how to determine this? Determine the cell voltage. So what you do, you independently cycle your anode and your cathode with respect to lithium metal. So these are the profiles of lithium of graphite against lithium metal, and the bottom profile is the uh, voltage profile of lithium cobalt oxide against lithium metal. When you when you remove lithium metal and combine graphite and lithium cobalt oxide together, separated by separator, what you will see during charging, both the reaction like at anode and cathode will be together. Your anode, if suppose your anode is getting oxidized, at the same moment your cathode will be oxidized, will be reduced. So you can see that when lithium gets removed from lithium cobalt oxide, at the same moment lithium will start to store in graphite. Okay. So what will happen? The voltage difference between the profile of lithium cobalt oxide and graphite, that is known as the cell voltage. So if suppose that this is 3.9 volt and this is zero point 0.2 volt, so this comes around 3.6 volt. So if you assemble a cell using graphite and lithium cobalt oxide, that will give you a cell voltage of 3.6 volt. So now come to the issues related to various electrode materials. So one issue is the like limited lithium storage capacity of the electrode. So if you look at this comparison of the comparison of the specific capacity of various electrode materials, you will see that the graphite, which has 372 milliampere per gram at the left side, the compounds at the right side has very huge lithium storage capacity. If I take example of say silicon, it has 10 times higher, 10 to 12 times higher lithium storage capacity as compared to graphite. So one should look at if you want to make a battery with the higher lead density, one should look at the materials at the left side, at the right side. Like these are the alloying type reactions. So one should look at alloying type reactions. The another case comes rate capability. So what happens? Everyone want to use lithium, want to use their cell like in our mobile also. We want a battery which can immediately charge and can be charged immediately. So for that we need to engineer the material in such a way that the rate capabilities of material can be increased. So suppose in this case if you look at as compared to non-engineered graphite, like graphite film and cycling, the rate capability like at higher C rate will be very, very, very low. But if you engineer your material, like say you vertically align the graphites or graphite, so that what will happen, your lithium can easily can go inside the layers, and so that at higher current rates, the charge storage capacity will be significantly higher. Again, it comes cycle life of your electrodes. So if you look at the right side of this example, which is from the silicon based electrodes, you can see that after say 30 charge discharge cycles, your cell is the performance of cell is significantly significantly reduced. And after you can see that after 80 cycles, it material hardly stores lithium. At the same moment, if you look at the uh, graphitic carbon, graphitic carbon has significantly better cycle life as compared to alloying or conversion based electrodes. Another issue comes with these electrode materials is the irreversible capacity loss. As I already told in previous example that this difference between the lithium capacity and dilithium capacity is due to the SEI layer formation. Okay, so this is like one of the reason the capacity of the material will be degraded, and everyone want that the Coulombic efficiency. So what is meaning of Coulombic efficiency? The ratio of dilithium capacity by lithium capacity means the amount of lithium is the amount of lithium removed from material by the amount of lithium stored in the material. So that ratio should ideally be very ideally be close to 1. It means there should not be any parasitic or unwanted reaction in the material. And as I told that the important aspect is the safety. So one should look at the safety aspect because your material, your battery should not get blasted when you use when it is in operation or when you use. So again, so now I will focus my my presentation on toward the issues majorly comes with the volume changes of the electrode materials. So what happens when lithium get stored in electrode materials due to the incorporation of those lithium ion or lithium species, the size of electrode get increased. So due to this insertion of insertion of these foreign lithium ions, the volume of the electrode will get increased. So due to this increase in the volume, there will be various mechanical processes, mechanical events will occurs that are associated with the degradation of the electrodes. So if you look at as I already told that if you look at silicon profiles, in a couple of cycles only, the performance of electrode uh, is, is is decreasing. So if you look at silicon morphology of silicon film after just after one cycle, you can see that there are a lot of severe cracks and delamination of the material is present. And this is the case of tin-based alloying electrode. And one more observation is that not only your material gets fractured, also the ACI layer which is formed due to the electrolytic degradation on the surface of the electrode, that is also fractured. So due to fracture of this ACI layer, there will be more active surface of the material will be originated. So on the surface of that, again, electrolyte will get degraded. So this is the case that like in allowing this reach, if I compare the change in the volume due to the lithium storage, the volume expansion in graphite is nearly 10%, which is not that much bad. But if you compare the metallic based anode where the alloying based reaction occur, the volume change is more than 300%. So to cope up with this such a huge volume expansion, it is very difficult, and one should engineer the electrode properly. So now If you look at the stress developed in the electrode material, so we can broadly classify these stresses into categories. One is stress uh, originated externally, and another is stresses developed within the electrode materials. So the stresses within the electrode materials is due to like these can be due to the diffusion of the lithium species. These can be the concentration developed due to the lithium storage within the material. These can be due to the phase transformation or structural transformation during the electrochemical cycle. And the external stresses can broadly be classified into categories: the stress during the electrochemical cycling and the stress prior to the electrochemical cycling. So the stress during the electrochemical cycling can be due to the constraint, like when your electrode getting expanded. So the constraint from the current collector or the cell case in which your battery is you know, is packed. The second case, the constraint may come from the binder, polymer binder. And thirdly, I told that the contribution may come from SCR layer found on the surface of the electrode. And the stress prior to the electrochemical cycle can be classified due to the growth of your electrode, or growth of electrode material, or fabrication of electrode composite electrodes. And second is due to the cell assembly, and third may be the swelling of your binder when it's soaked in electrolyte. So now comes like how you will measure the stress, because it is very critical. Such a huge volume can create huge amount of stress. So one should need to measure the stress very properly. So I was fortunate to measure those stresses in electrode material when I was working in IIT Bombay during my PhD. So this was the cell. This was the instrument setup. We called it the multi-beam optical stress sensor, which can give you the stress developing in your electrode in real time. Use while the electrochemical cycling of the electrode, you are able to measure the stress in the electrode. Okay. So how this instrument works? So in the backside of your electrode, which is reflecting surface, what you do, you incident laser beam, and it will be reflect back, and it will be collected by CCTV camera. When you cycle, when lithium will come in your electrode, what will happen? The curvature of your electrode film system will be changed. So that due to the change in curvature, this the position of its laser spots will be changed. So you measure the change in the difference of the spot positions, and it will give you the curvature of the electrode. It will give you the curvature of that system. And what you do, you take this radius, this curvature, put this curvature in the Stone's equation, which will give you the magnitude of stress generating in the field. Okay. So now come to the couple of examples of stress developed in the various electrodes. So uh, my supervisor, he worked on graphite based electrodes, and what he found that when you cycle those graphite films against lithium, what happens just before, even before the uh, before the intercalation of real intercalation of lithium in the graphite, there is a huge amount of stress get developed. Okay, and also during the classical intercalation, stress will continue to develop, and which is get removed during the deletion. So this 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 stress buildup and removal fairly is is fairly reversible. Okay. So during the lithiation, compressive stress get build up, which is nearly 250 megapascal. And during deletion, this entire stress get released. Okay. So if you compare the scenario uh, in the first cycle, which is on the left cycle, left side, and the scenario after 40 cycle, you can see that the irreversible component in the stress is totally diminished. Okay. Now, if now we come to the example of stress development in graphitic in Fuller graphene. So my colleague Farzana, she did excellent work on the Fuller graphene and measure stress, and she found that the stress developed in Fuller graphene, like where the number of graphene layers was around below 10. So the reversible stress about reversible stress of 11 GPa got built up in these graphene layers. So one should be very surprised that how these layers can sustain 11 GPa stress. Okay, so this compressive stress get fairly removed during the delithiation. So if we look at the mechanism of the stress development, so what is, as I have told that in graphene, lithium get stored in stages. Okay, stage 3, stage 2, stage 1, and correspondingly, lithium graphitic carbon compounds are formed. So in dilute stage or stage 4, where your lithium is randomly intercalated in graphene or graphite, the stress strain around zero point 0.7 get built up. With progress of cycle, these randomly distributed lithium arranged in a proper fashion, and this strain value start to decrease. And with the stage 2 or stage 1, the strain becomes around zero point 0.1. Okay. So what happens when lithium come in the graphene layers? So graphene layers get bent at the uh, at the site of where the lithium ion get stored. Okay. Now, if we look at the example of tin-based electrode, so what we found in that case, as you can see that in with respect to the voltage profiles, voltage plateaus in the graphene, there is no plateau in the potential profile. Okay, but in the case of tin type electrodes, you can see there are these are the like the voltage plateau, the thin line, the voltage profile, where you can see clear voltage plateaus coexisting with these voltage plateau. You can see plateaus in the stress profile also. So these plateau indicates about toward the phase transformation occurring in the tin films due to the formation of various lithium and tin alloy intermetallics. Okay, so over the cycle, uh, when time passes, the stress due to the lithium get removed. So this is due to the plastic deformation of tin film, and with progress of lithium, again stress start to build up. So if we look at how this stress get relieved in tin-based film, if we look at various tin lithium intermetallics formed during the cycling, we'll see that the stress, the eigenstrain. So I will tell you what is the eigenstress and eigenstrain. So when when a inclusion is formed within a bulk, so the stress experienced by the bulk material due to this inclusion within the material is called eigenstrain. So the eigenstrain and the associated eigenstress due to this these intermetallics is very huge. So due to Li7SN3, the stress magnitude is 8 GPa. So one should be very surprised how material can sustain 8 GPa. It should get fractured. So this 8 GPa cannot sustain by the tin film. So your tin film is start to plastically deform. So that is why this stress release is observed in this profile. Now, so what happens during the delithiation? We can see that due to plastic deformation of the tin film during lithiation, stress is get released. So during delithiation, when lithium start to remove from tin film, suddenly stress get relieved, and you can see that toward the end of delithiation, sharp stress release was observed in the tensile direction. So why this is? This is because due to the structural instability of the material. Due to this is an indication that your film get fractured or cracking, or cracked or delaminated. But when how we can minimize this fracture of film. So what we did, we heat our tin film which was deposited on copper current collector. So we heat it, and what happened due to this heat treatment, there was assemblage of various phases like tin, copper 3 tin, copper 6, tin 5. So this composite is formed where uh, the various phases are intermixed. So due to the formation of these phase assemblies, uh, there was lesser stress magnitude in the film during the lithiation and deletion. And interestingly, the stress released due to this structural degradation was absent in the heat treated tin films. So you can see that there was not severe cracking and the delamination of the material from the current collector. In one such example, people have tried germanium type alloy based electrode also. So where they have found that the stress developing in the film is critically dependent on the thickness of the film. So in this case, what they have found that uh, the thicker films prematurely get fractured, and the capacity fade or the performance of the cell is severely affected. But in the presence of thin films, these films were able to achieve near to their theoretical lithium storage capacity, and the performance of these thinner films was much better as compared to the thicker films. Okay. So now, if we look at the stress development in the cathode side of the electrodes, we have worked on lithium cobalt oxide based thin films, where we found that with the removal of lithium, the thin line, the stress response also uh, similar. The stress start to build up in the tensile direction, but with the progression of further delithiation, like beyond say zero point 0.1 lithium, what happens? You will see stress plateau. So these stress plateau and followed by the stress release are due to the phase transformation uh, from hexagonal one phase to hexagonal three phase. And you will see that due to this stress release, we observe that this lithium cobalt oxide films also get fractured. But if you compare this scenario with the lithium NMC, where NMC stands for nickel manganese cobalt oxide films. So in this case, what we found initial with the release of lithium from these films, the stress get built up in tensile direction. But with the further removal of lithium in the film, instead of these stress plateau, continuous stress release was observed in the compressive direction also. So the stress release in compressive direction in continuous fashion indicates that there was no cracking in this in lithium NMC films. So if one want to design electrodes, so therefore these results are very helping in terms of stress minimization. So as I told that when your electrode come in contact with the electrolyte, so electrolyte get reduced on the surface of the electrode material. Uh, so the reduction of these electrolyte and formation of a passivation layer on the surface of the electrode, that also creates a huge stress in the electrode. So in first example, if you see that this is for graphite based electrode, so you can see that in the first cycle there is a huge irreversible stress get built up, and over the cycle the irreversible contribution getting minimized, and after say 15 cycles, the reversibility of the stress profile is fairly established. So you can see that after say 15 cycles, around 1 GPa stress also get built up in graphite just due to from the SELA formation. And also with the proper engineering, the stress can be minimized. Suppose if you deposit alumina, very thin layer of alumina, the contribution of the contribution, your stress profile is fairly parallel to the x-axis. It means the contribution from the SEL layer is not taking place. Okay, and this is the example of tin-based electrode where what we did, we just simply our electrode at lower cutoff voltage, and you can see that you, at voltage 1.25 volt, not at lower voltage. So you can see that with the time, stress also getting built up. So one can say that if suppose your material is not reacting with the lithium, it means lithium is not storing in your material. Why the stress profile is getting, why the stress is getting built up? So this buildup of the stress is due to the SELF formation on the surface of the electrode. So now we have come to the come to the first part of this this lecture, where I have discussed about the chronological development of lithium-ion batteries, and then we have looked into various aspects related to structures and stress development in various electrode materials. We have discussed about the mechanism of charge storage in these electrodes, and so which will be very helpful to design the electrodes for next generation battery. So if you have any questions now, this session is open for question answer.
Thank, uh, thank you, Dr. Manoj. Some students have some participants have queries. So first query is that explain the specific capacity rate and the C by 10 factor.
So specific capacity is uh, see specific capacity is like materials property. So materials property, how much amount this material, how much amount of lithium get stored in that material. Okay. So now how to, just a minute, I should go to that slide. So specific capacity is uh, the amount. So how to estimate this specific capacity? So first I should tell that. So what you do, you take a 1 gram of material. Okay, you apply a certain amount of current, and certain amount of current for 1 hour. You just check how much charge is getting stored in that material. So that charge is correspond to specific capacity of that material. Okay. So suppose if I say, if I take an example of graphite, which has 372 milliampere per gram capacity. So what you do, you take 1 gram of graphite, you apply 372 milliampere current for 1 hour. It will definitely be give you 372 milliampere hour per gram capacity. So in that way we calculate the specific capacity, and this is a formula like where you can put the weight of the material and the number of electrons participating in the reaction, in the redox reaction. So you can also calculate the capacity of your material. So, and C rate, I told. So what you do to determine the C rate, what you do, if suppose your 1 gram of material, 1 gram of material, uh, if 1 gram of material stores near to theoretical capacity of that material in 1 hour. So the amount of current applied in this process is equivalent to 1C. Okay. To attain theoretical capacity of your material for 1 gram in 1 hour, the required amount of current is equivalent to 1C, like that is C rate of your material. Okay. So what is the meaning of C by 10? If suppose you want to charge or discharge your material at slow, like 10 times lesser at slow, like if suppose instead of 1 hour, if you want to charge and discharge your material, say in 10 hours, so the amount of current required in this case will be equivalent to C by 10. Is
So
that
another
clear?
query, so another query is the explain the insertion factor. Insertion
Insertion,
factor.
insertion factor. Insertion factor, like okay. So as I told that like electrode material can be classified on the basis in three categories broadly. Where is insertion, which we called intercalation also, that is a special case, alloying and conversion. So in insertion, what happens? You have a lamellar structure of your electrode, or there will be specific pathways for lithium migration. So due to these specific pathway or lithium, or lamellar structure of your material will get stored between the layers or within these specific pathways. So this is the like phenomena of insertion or intercalation. So I'm not getting like what the meaning by insertion factor. I didn't come across with this terminology, but this is the meaning of insertion and intercalation.
So so another query is charge stored during insertion.
Yes. See, insertion means your charge is coming within the bulk of your material. Okay. Charge stores in all three phenomena: insertion, alloying, and conversion. In all three phenomena, charge get stores. But in insertion, charge get stores within the layers of units of your material, within the like planes of the materials.
So another query is that explain the cell voltage and gravimetric capacity.
Okay, sure. So okay. So cell voltage, as I told, what you do as a like electrochemist, what we do, we cycle our electrodes against lithium. In case of if we are working on lithium-ion battery, so we separately cycle our electrodes against lithium. So this is the profile of let me select the pointer. So this is the profile of graphite cycled against lithium, and this is the example of cathode material, which is cobalt oxide. Again, it was cycled against lithium. So these are the voltage profile of these two materials independently cycle against lithium. Okay. Now what you do? So in lithium, the charge stores around 0.2 volt, and in graphite, in lithium cobalt oxide, charge stores around zero point 0.9 volt. Okay, you can remove lithium at point 39 at 3.9 volt or 3.8 volt, but in graphite you can store lithium at 0.2 volt. Okay, what you do simply, if suppose if you don't want to cycle both the materials against each in the same cell, you just simply remove minus about zero point 0.2 in from 3.9. Okay, so what will come? It will come around 3.7 or 3.6. So that is the cell voltage. But for practical application, what you do, you assemble graphite anode and lithium cobalt oxide cathode in a cell and cycle it. So similarly, you will get a voltage profile like this, and the difference of these two profiles will be your cell voltage. Is that okay?
So next query is that recently which type of metal oxide used for battery storage, which give good result in terms of storage.
Yeah. So nowadays, like the most of research is going at the in cathode side. Basically, these transition metal oxide are mainly used at cathode side. So nowadays, the attention is toward lithium NMC, like the oxide of nickel, manganese, and cobalt oxide. So this is now commercialized, and one of example is lithium manganese, the nickel manganese, aluminum based oxide, where the cobalt is removed. So these are the like couple of example of materials, new materials which are introduced in in a commercial batteries, which is lithium NMC, and in NMC also, like NMC stands for nickel, manganese, and cobalt. In NMC also depends on the fraction of nickel, manganese, and cobalt. The specific capacity of this material also getting improved. Like if you increase the content of nickel, like NMC 811 or NMC 9.5.5, that materials gives you maximum lithium storage, lithium capacity, say like nearly 280 milliampere per gram or nearly 300 milliampere per gram. So these are the couple of materials.
So another query is that explain the Coulombic efficiency.
Yes. So as I told that the efficiency meaning, if we look, the general meaning of efficiency means like something, the ratio of something output divided by the input. So here, the amount of lithium, removed from your material divided by the amount of lithium stored in that material. Okay. So this is the Coulombic efficiency. In other way, you can what you can do, the time taken in deletion means time taken in removing of lithium from your material, divided by the time taken in the lithiation of the material, like storage lithium stored in the material. So the ratio of these two is the Coulombic efficiency.
So now is it possible to measure the stress contribution from different factors along with total stress?
Uh, it is very difficult to separate the contribution of the various stress components. Like in my case also, like the stress is collective from the material. Like it is very difficult. At the same moment, it is very difficult to extract the contribution from SCI layer, contribution for real lithium storage. It's very difficult. So no, I will say no.
Okay. So another query is that please elaborate
So
eigenstrain.
eigenstrain, as I told in that case. So what happens? So the basic meaning of eigenstrain is the strain. Where is that? Uh, so strain developed due to the formation of strain developed due to the formation of new species within the bulk of a material. So the strain caused by the formation of these new species is called eigenstrain. So in this case, in the example of tin-based alloy electrode, what happens? In the tin bulk, these lithium tin intermetallics are formed. So these species create a strain in the bulk of tin. So this is a meaning of eigenstrain in this. Yes.
So another query is the explain relieving stress in SN
Okay.
electrode.
So what happens when the lithiation progresses? So lithiation of tin film progresses, various tin intermetallic get forms, and the yield the yield strength of tin is, say, I don't know, it is around 40 megapascal, I think. So due to the formation of these species within the tin film, these film create strength, that is eigenstrength. So due to this, material get plastically deformed. So due to this plastic deformation of the tin, or I say entire tin and tin intermetallic system, the stress is get relieved. And secondly, in second case, the stress is get relieved due to the fracturing of the film. So you will see that during the case of lithiation, your material is not getting fractured. It is just plastically get deformed. Okay, but in that delithiation or charging case, your material, the stress is released due to the fracture of your film.
Hello?
Yes. I'm here.
Yeah, another query is that can we use rare earth material to improve efficiency of battery?
Rare earth material to improve. Yeah,
Rare earth materials.
yes, you can do, but I don't know like because I never seen such an example. But okay, you can dope these transitional metal oxides, and you can check whether that is positively helping or not. But as of now, I didn't see like any potential example from rare earth metals. But people are using rare earth metals to make solid state electrolytes. So in these elements are quite frequently used. But in designing the electrodes, I don't think so. There are like much examples available.
Okay, so another query is can you explain once again how alloying lithium with other dopant change the cell capacity and charging and discharging?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Can you explain once again lithium other change the and changing the and charging and discharging
Means doping of electrode materials.
lithium?
Doping with lithium.
How alloying lithium with other dopants?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so
Yeah, alloying lithium with other dopants.
okay, okay. So what happens? Okay, there are a couple of examples present where suppose if I take example of say tin or say silicon. So due to this huge volume expansion, these material get structurally degraded very quietly. So what you do, you simply dope with some other materials. Say you make an alloy of tin and silicon, like in some amount of you add some amount of silicon in tin, and then you cycle it against lithium. Like you store lithium in that case. So what will happen? The lithium storage potential for both the material is different. Like tin stores at say zero point 0.4 or zero point 0.5, zero point 0.4 like zero point 0.4 volt, but in silicon lithium stores as zero point 0.2. So what will happen? First, your tin will start to react with lithium, and secondly, at lower potential, then your silicon will start to react. So due to this reaction, these two reactions have different potential. The instability of material will be can be minimized, and the performance or the stability of the materials can be improved. The doping of your electrode with the other element will increase the capacity or not. I cannot comment on that. One should look at that. So this is the way stability of the electrode can be improved with the help of doping.
So last query is that what is the important role transition metal oxide, copper chromium oxide?
Copper chromium oxide.
What is copper chromium oxide?
This is like you see, this may be like some specific example of a material, but I will not be commenting on that. In cathode side, frequently used transition metal oxides are nickel, cobalt, and manganese based oxide. But uses of like chromium based oxide, I don't think so. It is like frequently used, so I will not comment on that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Manoj,
You're
for
welcome.
clarifying your all the queries and giving the nice talk. So we
You're
will
welcome.
start our next
Sorry
session
to
around.
interrupt. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, there is one last question. Please explain delamination.
Yeah, delamination, like if lamination means like you bring layers over each other. Delamination means like you remove those layers from from the bulk of materials. So in this case of this in battery, delamination means removing of your electrode film from the current collector. So what happens during the course of this structure degradation? your film also get peeled off from the current collector. So due to this delamination, your active material will not participate in the cycling, because it will not get electrical supply from the actual circuit, because it's now delaminate from the material.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So no more question now.
Yes, I guess we are done with the questions.
So, so next session will be start 3 p.m. So thank you once again, Dr. Manoj.
So before like ending this session, I will tell that in next session we'll see like specific case of silicon based electrode, where how the stress get developed, how the stress can be minimized, what is the mechanism of stress development and stress minimization in those electrodes, and how we can use we can use different materials to minimize those stresses in silicon based electrodes. So that will be entirely focused on one material. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Manoj. So we will be meeting at 3 p.m. sharp. So prior to that, 5 minutes. In a minute, I will be sharing the attendance link. So please be online for next 5 minutes to all the participants. Thank you, Dr. Manoj, again.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you very much.
हाँ हाँ चलेगा, अगर तुम्हारे पास रेडी होगा तो शेयर करो। मैं शायद से लॉग आउट हो गए हो। ओके ओके, चलेगा चलेगा। थैंक यू।
Okay.
Yeah, so please wait for a minute.